Hello, everyone. It's me, Ari.com Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Thanks for being here. Again, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Don't forget, you can donate the links below and check my novels on Amazon too. Thank you very much. Um, Today, it's Saturday, the 9th of November, 2024. It's been, it's been some days already since the presidential election of the United States. And let me share the screen with you all. One moment. As you can see over here, it's obvious that Donald Trump won. He has over 74,264,010 votes. He's like 50.5% of the popular vote. And he also has the majority of the electoral votes also from the Electoral College. As you see, the majority of the US states are now red states. Even though you have some powerful blue states over there like New York, State of New York and California. But anyway, apart from those, it's obvious Donald Trump is the current president-elect, and it's about to be inaugurated in the end of January. Um, Coming January, this next year, he'll be inaugurated as the president of the United States again. This is going to be a second term. After that, he can't run anymore. All right, because in the past there was a president who ran 3 times, and eventually thought, okay, this is enough. So that's why they put it in that you can only run for 2 terms. Whether it's terms after each other or there's not a term in between. So, yeah, and when you look at the other votings, I mean, yeah, for the presidential election, Trump won, and the Republicans now have a big portion of the House of Commons, and they have the majority in the Senate. So this is going to make it easier for Donald Trump to push through his policies. I'm not saying there won't be any challenges, but it's it kind of has a big leverage now, politically speaking. All right. Now, for those who are here, if you're from the United States, let me know the live chat, please. If you are from the United States, let me know the live chat, please. Thank you very much. All right, this is a Dutch website, something different. Can go back over here. And let me check the audio very quickly also. Should have done that earlier, but okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, you can hear me clearly, so that's good. Down is from the state of Georgia. Okay, that's a red state also. Now, Donald Trump was president before. And for a lot of people, it was a surprise back then when he became president. Okay, let me go to the Wikipedia page. President of the United States. Let me go to the list of presidents of the United States for you. The Mench's here. The Mench from the United States too. Glad you're here. Okay, Joe Biden is leaving office soon. President of the United States. Hold on, and let me. Oh yeah, here it is. List of presidents of the United States. Okay, let's go back to the modern era. Okay, so he was the 45th president of the United States, and he's going to come to 47th president of the United States also. The 20th of January 2025 will be inaugurated. And his vice president elect, soon vice president, is James David Vance. I believe he's married to an Indian woman, if I'm correct. But anyway, you can look it up for yourself. As a matter of fact, let me check very quickly. Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm correct over here. Indian immigrants. Yeah, okay, I'm correct. All right. So, okay. Thing is, the world today is totally different than the world we had in 2016. Okay, when Trump won the race. It's a different world. Not because just think about it. 2020, you had the global health crisis that happened. Um, I don't have to go deep into that, but okay, let me show it to you. Yep, yet this global health crisis happened, and yeah, it shook the world, brought a lot of trauma, a lot of change during this global health crisis. Yet the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which a conflict is still ongoing, as you can see, this also exhausts a lot of people. And you all also had now this ongoing war in ongoing Israel-Hamas war that's going on that turned into the Gaza genocide that you have over here. And now the state of Israel, which some nickname Busiland, that's the name I'm going to use in its live stream. Busiland is also in war with Hezbollah, so also bombing Lebanon right now. Yeah, the Houthis, who cause a lot of trouble for the global trade in the Red Sea. And you had South Africa winning in the International Court of Justice. You also International Court of Justice ordering the Busiland to leave the Palestinian territories and to pay reparations. So yes, the Gaza genocide has been confirmed. It is going on. And yeah, look at one of the most settler colonialism, which is actually something the United States has been guilty of, but due to practical reasons, nothing could have been done about it back then in the 19th century. And yes, anti-Palestinianism, anti-Arab racism, Islamophobia. You have complicit people were complicit, the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia. So yeah, and at now you have at least 42,000 victims. The total death toll could be around 200,000 almost in Gaza right now. So that's a big problem. But you also have a worldwide backlash against Busiland. And so this we live in a new era right now. We are living in a new era right now. And in this new era, the West is not the norm anymore. Okay. Okay. So you had the EU foreign policy chief. It's similar to a Minister of Foreign Affairs, but because the European Union is not an actual state, but a union of states, that's why you have an EU foreign policy chief. The EU foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell, said Western dominance has ended. He acknowledged it. The era of Western dominance has indeed definitely ended. Definitely ended. You hear that, guys? Oh, okay, I'm gonna show it. Borrell said in a recent blog that the era of Western dominance has indeed definitely ended. And while this has been theoretically understood, we have not always drawn all practical conclusions from this new reality. Okay, this is kind of a more diplomatic language. Now, I also have a background in international relations. Let me explain to you briefly what this means. Joseph Borrell, I want to show you guys who it is. So hold on. Let me go to Wikipedia. European Union. Let me just go to the Wikipedia page of the European Union. Then I'll show you Joseph Borrell. The European Union over there, Britain left several years ago. this giant political and economic financial bloc over here. Let's go to Josep Borrell. I believe he's Spanish, if I'm correct. Yeah, Spanish politician. Yeah. Vice President of the European Commission. The European Commission is similar like a Senate for Europe. And he's also been used to be the President of the European Parliament in the past. And he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs, European Union and Cooperation. He used to be that also. So this guy has a very high position, and he used to be Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, and now he's doing foreign affairs for the whole European Union, and he admitted that the Western dominance is over. So that simply means that they can't get away doing whatever they want to do anymore. Simple as that. I'm not going to use all this diplomatic jargon to be diplomatic. I'm saying for what it is. Oh, let me read further. He further noted that many in the global south. What is the global south? Okay, let me show it to you guys. Global south. This is a term I use for my PhD also, which I'm still working on behind the scenes. The global south refers to the nations that formerly were considered third world countries or former colonized places, or countries that were kind of backwards on the economic ladder. Of course, the Western world and Russia and Australia and New Zealand are considered the global north, together with South Korea and Japan. Even though a lot of people doubt whether Russia should be included in the global north, but this is the global south. Now you see the global south does not include European nations. Okay? So what this guy said was that many in the global south are accused of a double standard, referring to the West's starkly different reaction to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and Israel-Palestine conflict. Oh, so it means that there's double standards. Let me tell you what this simply means. This means that the Western world isn't just the European Union, it also includes the United States. You know what? Let me show you Western world. I made live streams before showing how the Western world is actually a toxic mixture of Christianity and Greco-Roman paganism. It cannot work when this is the Western world over here. As you can see, it's the majority of the European Union, Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and Canada. Japan and South Korea are sometimes considered the Western world culturally, but financially, politically, and militarily, they're not the Western world. As you can see over here, Australia and New Zealand are kind of interdependent on the United States and European Union, so it's mainly European Union and United States. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they are in separate nations, but they kind of still dependent on the European Union and the United States economically for the trade. So I'm not saying they're not separate countries, I'm just saying that they're not that independent as people think they are. So if the Western dominance is over, that means that US military bases. Okay, let me show it like this. That means that all the US military bases placed worldwide soon will have to go to. Let me explain the history briefly of how the United States became so militarily powerful. Before the US being a superpower, you had the British Empire. Okay, let me just go over here. So, yeah, the Second World War. After the Second World War, the British Empire began to crash completely. It slowly turned to a Commonwealth. So you had the British Empire. And the British Empire was the one that was dominant militarily worldwide. And because of that, the economy of Britain became dominant everywhere. Why? Because the British would guard the British cargo ships with ships from the Navy. Look, if you want to trade with another country and you arrive there with your goods, the people in the country can say, we don't want your goods. Your goods are not quality, whatever. But if you arrive together with a Navy vessel, the people in the receiving country think, okay, if we reject your goods, we don't know why. We know what the military of Britain is going to do. So you know what? Let's just make a deal. That's how Britain got away with having its empire through military bullying, military extortion. That's what the British did. If you wouldn't trade with the British, you would block all your ports. You would just put the naval ships over there and block every ship from entering or leaving your port. And guess what? Before you know it, you have to surrender, or else people are going to starve over there. After the Second World War, when a lot of people wanted the British Empire gone, a lot of the British rich began to reinvest their assets into the United States. And because that United States now began to take over this dominant role of the British Empire, they never got the full dominance that the British Empire had, but they got something a little bit less. And that's how the United States was able to become this superpower. That everywhere they go, people kind of just deal with them. They got away with this because they were perceived as the heroes and that defeated the Nazis. They were perceived as the people who are against colonialism. Yeah, you're against colonialism, but you have a colonizing impact yourself. Also, and don't forget, the United States also sided with France, which was a colonial power when it came to Vietnam. So that's a bit weird. But anyway, this dominance of the United States was closely tied to the Western Europe. Why? Because let me explain. After the Second World War, things were in ruin many places in the world. So the United States had the advantage that they were between two oceans, were able to trade, but they needed to have the incorporation of other economies. Now, yet the Soviet Union over here, they didn't want to comply that well, so they had to form their own bloc. So that's how, through this interconnectedness with Western Europe, which later became the European Union, they now were able to be dominant. And the whole war on terror that began in 2001 with the attack on the Twin Towers led to a weakening of the Muslim world through military intervention of the United States also. So that made it appear like the United States was almost invincible. But it all backfired. Because if you keep promoting yourself as the best place to be, and you keep causing harm and damage to other people's countries, people from those countries will want to go where it's better. And if you're the one where it's better, they're going to come towards you. And not all the people that come there will have good intentions towards you. So mass migration continued. Also, the birth rate in the Western world declined a lot. So now the immigrant populations from what used to be the global South are now gaining financially, economically in the West. All of this led to a lot of conflicts, and shortly said, the Western world cannot function anymore. They've lost their leverage. During the Obama presidency, Obama attempted to warn the world about change. Change is coming. But people didn't get it. So after 8 years of Obama, people wanted Trump to reinstate the Western dominance. Guess what? Trump did not succeed to reform the United States to be self-sufficient and powerful. Because the United States was never self-sufficient, ever. For example, high-speed railways. Okay, high-speed railways. Okay, let's look at this. How many high-speed railways does the United States have? I want to show some countries for you. I've been in Japan and Korea. They have high-speed railways. There's super fast trains. There's one in Europe right over here. And those high-speed railways are kind of an alternative from taking an airplane or traveling by bus. How many high-speed railways are there in the United States? Let me know in the live chat if you know it. Here's another one. It's in France. High-speed railways is in Japan, I believe. Or no, it's Spain. My bad. It's random. It's Spain. Japan's a similar one. High-speed railways are very important for the economy. Oh, let me answer your question here. This is East Asia. Now, this was in 2023. China used to have only 2 or 3 high-speed railways. In 20 years' time, in one generation time, all over China you have high-speed railways, and even go from China into Southeast Asia over here. And the high-speed railways are also connected to Korea. Now, you have the situation with North Korea, which is kind of a bit complicated, but nevertheless, South Korea, I've been there, and I can tell you, South Korea has high-speed railways, very effective ones. Japan, Lord have mercy, have very effective high-speed railways over there. Now, here you have, there are not really that many high-speed railways in the west of Asia, but it's upcoming. They're working on it. This is Europe, and Europe, especially the west, has a lot of high-speed railways, even tunnels under the sea. So European youth here can actually travel quite easily. Turkey also has high-speed railways over there. Let's go to the United States. You have one quick railway between New York City and Washington, D.C. And you have one in construction in some local place in California. So you don't actually have high-speed railways in the United States connecting all the states. How come China, which has which geographies is a bit more difficult and complicated than the United States? Okay, let me just show it to you. Okay, this is the geography of China. Let me show it over here. Now this is an exaggerated one. As you see that you have plain low fields over here, but you have mostly you have mountainous areas. Here you have the Himalayas, you have a desert over here. So it's kind of a complicated landscape to build high-speed railways, infrastructure in general. Let's go to the United States. USA relief map. This is a relief map of the United States. You have one mountain range over here, the Appalachians, and you have the Rocky Mountains over here. And some hill landscape over there. So this landscape over here is far more complicated. Look at Korea, all the mountainous areas. It's more complicated than the United States landscape. And yet, the United States, when all these decades in it, laying high-speed railways to connect all the important industrial areas, like for example, you have the Benton Harbor over here, Chicago over there, the Great Lakes region, which is industrial places, should be well connected to New York City, and with that connect to New Orleans, and from there connect to California. You should be able to get a high-speed railway from, let's say, Los Angeles all the way to New York, and you're there maybe within 15 hours or whatever. You should be able to take the train from New York all the way to Miami. I mean, when Trump was president the first time, did he invest in high-speed railways in the United States? Yes, there was an infrastructure bill, I remember, of like I don't know how much it was, like $1 billion, whatever, but what did they do with it? And don't forget, at the end of Donald Trump's first presidency, there were already people analyzing his presidency and claiming that he had quite some failures. Oh, there were some accomplishments, they admit. Let's read over here. History, this from the Council on Foreign Relations, which is a political organization. Also, it says history will judge Donald Trump to have been a consequential US president and that he left America and the world much change. He will also be seen as one of the most, if not the worst ever. Okay, let's go. True, Trump did accomplish some useful things. Domestically, he pushed policies across to the too high corporate tax rate, the easing of some overly burdensome regulations that appear to have contributed to robust economic growth. In foreign policy, he deserves credit for moving the U.S. policy vis-a-vis an increasingly repressive, powerful, and assertive China in a more sober, critical direction. He was also right to provide defensive arms to Ukraine, given that part of the country is under Russian occupation. Negotiating a new trade pact with Mexico and Canada and then pursuing Congress to approve it was a significant achievement, even if the improvement of the North American Free Trade Agreement was modest and important parts of the new accord were taken from the text of the far bigger Trans-Pacific Partnership that Trump unwisely rejected. The United States also played a valuable role in facilitating the normalization of ties between Israel and some of the Arab neighbors, notwithstanding its failure to make any headway on the Palestinian issue. So the Palestinian issue was not dealt with. And as you see now, it had turned into a genocide that goes on right now, and a lot of problems surrounding it. So Trump had some failures that we still need to live with till this day. But these and any other accomplishments are dwarfed by what Trump got wrong. Three failures in particular stand out. The first is the damage he has done to American democracy. The events of January 6, 2021, when a mob of Trump supporters besieged and occupied the U.S. Capitol, where the accumulation of the president's efforts to demonize the media, violate established norms, promote lies, question the authority of the courts, and reject the results of a presidential election that passed every serious test of its legitimacy. Okay? That's one thing. The second defining issue is COVID-19. The coronavirus outbreak and subsequent spread were China's failure, but Trump in having an inadequate response is what explained why 400,000 Americans will have died from the disease by the time he leaves office. Whoa. I know how much it is right now. The Florida's response also caused millions of jobs and businesses to disappear, some permanently, millions of students to fall behind, and government and people around the world to lose respect for America. So that was another thing. Trump's third legacy defining failure was a foreign policy that undermined America's position in the world. In part, this outcome owes something to the reasons right above. So there were obvious failures of Trump, and there are many more. And question, did Trump reflect on those policy failures and the damage it caused, and did he admit those failures and said we're going to do better this time? I mean, all of you from the United States, have you ever heard in any Trump interview, as far as you know, or in any news headline, Trump admitted failures and said, we're going to do better right now, and we'll learn from it? Have you ever heard something like that? Let me know in the live chat. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard some serious self-reflection from the Trump side, from his team? For example, let's make America great again. It was a phrase used by Ronald Reagan in 1980. It was also used by Clinton one time in a similar way. You want to make America number one again, and then change that to make America great again. Okay? But the thing is, when was America great then? And for who was it great? For who was it great? For when? Make America great again means it used to be great. It means it declined. That means you need to address the decline. How come it declined? What's the cause of this decline? And what can we do better now about it? But then you need to explain when it was great to begin with. What's so great about it back then? Have you guys ever heard a clear definition of when the United States was great, according to the Republicans? Did they ever explain in the full, in a definitive sense, when the United States was great and when the United States declined? Have you ever heard that? So think about it. If you say, let's make America great again, but you don't give a definition when America was great, when it declined. That means anyone can fill it in. So let's say now you are a Chinese, let's say you're a Chinese American from Chinese ancestry, and your grandparents entered the United States, let's say in the 1960s. And let's say in the 1980s, you and your Chinese family were flourishing financially. Let's say, for example, many Chinese Americans were flourishing financially. But in the 1990s, due to some financial crisis in Asia, trade with Asia became more difficult, and suddenly the Chinese Americans declined financially. Now, for you, hearing all these Chinese American, all these stories about your Chinese relatives in America, you may think, hey, make America great again. Well, America was great during my time with my grandparents in the 1970s, 1980s. So you think that's what means make America great again. But for what we call the African Americans or the Black Americans, they may think America great. Which great? You mean before independence during slavery? Also, after independence during slavery, or after slavery was abolished, you had Jim Crow laws? Or do you mean the civil rights movement have to fight for civil rights? Do you mean in 1970s when the economy of Black America was being demolished behind the scenes? They're going to think, okay, when was America great for the Black Americans who contributed to the establishment of the country? Now, Donald Trump did admit that Black Americans built built America. They were not the only ones to build America, but they did build America. Donald Trump even told Black Americans, don't let anyone look down on you. But Donald Trump vindicated the contribution of Black Americans. I admire him for that. So that's true. But for the Black Americans, it's going to be okay. What greatness? What time? For someone from Italian ancestry, because remember, Italian migrants used to be treated horrible in the United States also for a long time. Just like Irish migrants. They were not even considered white by the statistics back then. At some point, you were considered white out of the blue, and you had jobs was offered onto them. So for the Italian Americans, the United States was not great at all for the most part. It's only around the civil rights era when the reforms happened that suddenly things became better for them. So for them, America is great right now, generally speaking. So make America great again for who? What time period? So I want to explain a trick to you. If you want to trick people into complying with you, knowing full well that what you want to do they don't agree with, you have to let them think that you're all about them. Scam artists and con artists use this trick often. Now, I'm not labeling Donald Trump a con artist or scam artist over. I'm just saying that this trick is something con artists and scam artists often use. What they do is they tell you something you want to hear without being definitive about it. And because you tell them that you agree with them, in their head, they think you agree with their agenda, even though you never did actually admitted to their agenda. So when they comply with you and later you don't give them what they want, they're going to be upset with you, think, hey, I thought you were on my side. Then you tell them, but I never said I would actually do that. Let me give an example. If you say, let's make America great again, for example, because I'm using this example now, and you say this, for example, to the Indian Americans, and the Indian Americans now, they have their view in general, because there are different discussions, different groups of Indian Americans. I don't talk about indigenous Americans, I talk about Indian Americans, those, or Hindu Americans, better said, those they're descendants from the people from the South Asia. The Hindu Americans, they have their view of what greatness means. So then you can tell, we're going to make America great again, and you guys from South Asia are also part of it. So now the South Asians who are now part of the United States can think, hey, this means that we are going to have more to say in IT, we're going to have more to say in economy, so they have their whole view of what's going to be. If later now you make policies that kind of damage their position, you're going to say, hey, but I thought we're going to make America great again. What they thought greatness meant was that they are going to be financially solidified. But you never said, I'm going to financially solidify you guys. That's what they thought you meant with Make America Great Again. So now you do this with every group in the United States of America. Tell them you make America great again without actually being definitive of what the greatness implies and what's going to mean for people, what the challenge is going to be. And before you know it, you have the masses going after you. Each have their own expectation of how America's going to look like. But okay, a lot of expectations don't add up, and you can't make everyone happy because not all wishes can be granted. So eventually, a lot of people will be disappointed. But guess what? Because there was no definitive um, um, statement of what you're about to do, people cannot hold you accountable right now. Look, if in the Netherlands, for example, a political party says we are going to lower inflation, if they say I'm going to lower inflation so that the cost of living will become lower in the Netherlands. If a political party in the Netherlands says that and they're voted into office, and while in office they don't make any effort to lower inflation or to lower the cost of living, guess what? Now the Dutch public can hold them accountable because they say, listen, during your campaign, you said we're going to lower inflation or at least lower the cost of living in the country. You repeat this over and over again. You put it in writing. A lot of people voted for you because that's what was relevant for them. And now you're in office, you betray your voters by not even making effort towards it. Now, if the political party makes effort to reduce the cost of living and doesn't work out, at least they did their part based on what they were definitive about. But let's say now a political party says we're going to improve the Dutch economy without explaining what it actually means. What do you mean improve an economy? Now, for some people, improved economy means lower cost of living. For some, it means higher salaries. So you have a group of people that think, oh, we're going to have lower cost of living. Others going to think we're going to have higher salaries. So you have two expectations of what a better economy means. But what if a political party says you're just going to improve the Dutch economy? Let's go for it. But they're not definitive what about to do with the economy. Guess what? If they win the elections and later the prices don't go down, cost of living remains high, and wages don't increase, people are going to say, but you failed us. And then the political party can say, but we never said we would lower cost of living. We never said we would increase the wages. So when it comes to politics, it has to be definitive what they're about to do. Because only it's definitive can hold them accountable. You should never vote nor collaborate with someone who's not definitive of what they're about to do. If they're not definitive, now definitive does not mean you can't be flexible. In life, you have to be flexible to get things done. Absolutely. But you have to be definitive of the outcome you're working towards. If you're not definitive of the outcome you're working towards, how can people collaborate with you? So if you vote for or you support something that's not definitive, you're setting yourself up. If it goes a whole different direction you never want to be part of, guess what? But you should have done your research and due diligence to figure out what are they about. Is this clear to you all? Let me know in the live chat. So, yes, on the 20th of January 2025, Donald Trump will be inaugurated again as president. This is the last time he can serve as president. Unless the constitution would change, but I don't expect that to happen. But just know his first presidency had a lot of failures. I mean, make America great again. Okay, so okay, let's go to the map of the United States again. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to the map of the United States again. Um, hold on. I'm gonna go to Google Maps for a moment. United States. Okay, let me present it one more time. Okay, United States. I believe this is show New York City, but anyway. Why does Google Maps think I'm in Washington, D.C.? But anyway. Okay, let's go back. This is United States. Enormous. Okay? From New York City till Los Angeles is 3,934 kilometers. That's around 2,444 miles. Okay, from the tip of Maine over here in Canada all the way to Florida over here is 2,713 kilometers or 1,686 miles. And you have all these 50 states. Each state is like its own country that forms part of the union. Okay, so people in the United States, they need jobs. You don't want the United States to be dependent on foreign companies, or you want to be have production in the United States, right? Okay, build at least 5 high-speed railways, New York City to the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes was Louisiana. Also from New York City to Florida down here, and also from the Louisiana area all the way to Texas to California over here. And you could do one from Seattle all the way here, or also from Seattle all the way to here. Just a few high-speed railways could have been done in just 2 years' time. Once you have all the high-speed railways, transportation goes easier. So after you do that, you improve the local cities by building metros and trams everywhere. And let's say you have all these illegal migrants in the United States. I believe they sit around 11 million illegal migrants in the United States right now. The birth rate in the United States is kind of low in many states. And you need to have a young population. So what do? You have a lot of these young people who come in illegally. What do you tell them? Okay, listen, we should deport you because you entered the country legally, but we offer you a deal. You can get a green card if you become active in the field of construction or in the field of cleaning or whatever. Offer them a green card if they become active for at least 2 or 3 years in one of the fields the United States needs. That's how you can solve the labor shortage. Or you can tell them you can become a US citizen if you join the military for at least 5 years, and in the military you also contribute to construction in the United States. I mean, you have all these people there. Deporting all of them can be quite intense and quite exhausting. Use them while there so they become productive for the country in. They're the ones who came to the United States illegally, right? So they want to be part of America. Okay, you force yourself in America. Okay, so we don't ask you to come. You force yourself over here. Now we either deport you or you're going to get into a deal with us. And with this deal, you're going to be contributing. Do that. And if Trump would have done this in his first term, you would have hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants turning into US citizens, being productive, and that would have helped the United States also. And those illegal migrants could have been the ones working or contributing to build those high-speed railways that the United States desperately needs. If he would have done that in his first term, during the Biden term, the United States would be completely different. The United States could fully be self-sufficient, not needing anyone else, and you could slowly remove a lot of military bases worldwide, which will save other cash also. Oh, and if you have high-speed railways, you have a better economy, better GDP. Now you can do free healthcare for Americans. You can do free education, so the more people in the United States can get an education also, which is also quite important. So there were all types of ways the United States could have been improved. But for political and racial reasons, it didn't happen. Do you seriously think it's all going to happen right now? Now that the Western world, which includes the United States, is declining? In 2016, the United States wasn't booming at all anymore. The United States was in a bad condition. But the United States, as part of the Western world, was still relevant. But now that the Western dominance is over and the Western world is in full decline, do you seriously think that now in decline they're able to do all of this that they should have done a long time ago? No, they wouldn't. So what can we expect from another Trump presidency? By the way, I can be wrong about this, okay? This is not a prophecy that I got from the Heavenly Father. This is not the Lord showed what the Lord told me. No, this is me, an anthropologist and sociologist with a background in international relations, telling you what is likely most probable to happen under Trump presidency. Of course, unexpected things can happen, which I'm not aware of because I don't know the full future. Absolutely not. Only the Heavenly Father does. But these are a few things you can expect from a new Trump presidency. Number one is isolation. Trump's plans to put tariffs on foreign goods to to close the southern border completely and deport over 11 million people. If he goes on with all these plans, the United States will be alienated and isolated politically and financially from the rest of the world. And that would mean that United States relevancy will decline. And because the United States is one of the main parts of the Western world, you can actually say that half of the Western world is the United States, and the other half is the European Union and those other countries. Because the United States is kind of half of the Western world, if the United States isolates financially and politically, that means that European Union will also suffer because of it unless they fully detach themselves financially and politically from the United States. Now, I'm not sure if the United States will fully get out of NATO, even though Trump has been mentioning something like this. We're not sure it's going to happen. But even if the United States stays in NATO, because of the other policies which are nationalistic in nature, NATO will become weaker and weaker, and you can predict that soon the European Union will actually increase Eurocorps. There is a European military collaboration. Oh, there. Let me see if I can find it for you. Hold on. Eurocorps, indeed. Eurocorps will likely increase, kind of as a replacement for NATO, in order to be a common defense for Europe itself. So when that happens, the United States will have less to say already. Also, the whole situation with Ukraine and Russia. If Trump pushes Ukraine to concede land, now the Russian Federation got away with invading another country, a European country, and claiming that this country had no right to exist, and that's why we need to correct history. Okay, if Russia gets away with that, what if Mexico says, you know what, actually we don't agree with history, what happened, California should belong to Mexico? Or what if Germany says parts of Poland belongs to Germany? So if Russia gets away what it did with Ukraine, it's going to be a precedent for more border conflicts worldwide, including border conflicts within the United States, between states itself. And you also have, and if Russia gets away helping so-called two breakaway provinces from Ukraine to become Russian, guess what? There is an independence movement in California and in Texas. What if they want to leave? And they say, but hold on a minute, Trump, you supported Russia with the separation of some Ukrainian provinces. But how come you don't support one of us want to leave you now? So that would be a trap. So, but if Trump decides to side with, continue with Ukraine, it's going to lead to decline of the Russian Federation also further, which will also be more upsetting. So that's also going to be something that's going to backfire in the United States. What about the Gaza situation? If Trump sides with the Palestinians right now and force the establishment of a Palestinian state and to put harmony over there, it would make him popular and get more support from the Muslim world in general, but will also lead to a lot of social unrest within the Western world, especially amongst his own supporters. If he sides with Busiland against the Palestinians and kind of try to bypass the Palestinian issue, he's going to be complicit with the Gaza genocide and all the harmness goes on, and that can even lead to more armed conflict over there. So I just want to point out to you over here, whatever Trump will do now that he gets into office, it will not make the position of the United States any better. The United States will continue to decline. And that's reality people need to get through to them. Because let me tell you why the Western world, especially the United States, as part of the Western world, was so successful. The American dream. Let me look it up for you. The American dream. Okay. The American dream is a phrase referring to a proposed national ethos of the United States that every person has the freedom and opportunity to succeed and attain a better life. The phrase was popularized by James through Slow Adams during the Great Depression in 1931, and has had different meanings over time. Originally, the emphasis was on democracy, liberty, and equality, but more recently has been on achieving material wealth and upward mobility. So, what it comes down to is that, how should I say it? The United States claims that if you leave your own country behind and become a US citizen, you'll have all the freedom to become rich and wealthy unhindered. The only thing we require is for you to have show your allegiance to our political system. Because you remember, the United States is not a nation in itself. It's a bunch of immigrants from Europe and other places that are under the same political administration that functions as a country. And it's called a nation, but you have Irish Americans, you have Italian Americans, German Americans, you have Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, African Americans, Hispanic Americans. So what I'm saying is that the United States never had a stable basis demographically to begin with. Don't you forget the genocide committed on the indigenous Americans over there. But that's another topic. So the only way the United States could appear relevant worldwide is for people to escape towards that. So if you lived, let's say in Italy, and in Italy you had a criminal record, or in Italy you couldn't get ahead in life, you could just always move to the United States, start a new life over there as an American citizen. You just learn English, get along, pay your taxes, and you would be left alone. Psychologically, this meant that the United States became a place where people escaped towards. So the work people moved to the United States over time, and they actually became people that contributed for the better. That happened. But a big portion of the people that moved to the United States were just escaping their homelands. They were escaping. And so the thing is, a lot of these people did not want to work and fight for a better homeland where they were. They just want to escape towards the United States. And if you have massive amounts of people escaping and coming in, they don't come to contribute. They don't come because of the quality over there. They just want to escape. You can have someone in Bangladesh who's sexually loose, and because people in Bangladesh don't approve of that and don't want it over there, now they moved to New York City, because in New York City, at least, you could be a hoe or gangbanger, whatever you want, and people just live your life, whatever you want to do. Or maybe in your own homeland, you don't want to have a family and contribute. You just want to be partying your whole life, being childless. Well, in the United States of America, you can do that. So you see what I mean? The United States offered escapism um, to people, and they put a minimum requirement to join them. Now, it's not just the United States. Other European countries did a similar thing, which led to a lot of mass migration. And the fact that the United States had all this military intervention worldwide also did not help very well. So you had mass migration to the United States and other parts of the Western world, and people had the idea, we're going to escape over there. But if you have a bunch of people coming towards you just because you want to escape, and later there are difficulties in the country where they escape towards, you think they're going to be motivated to comply? No, they will not be motivated to comply because they came there to escape. So when they can't escape there, they're going to be offended. And now, in this sense of entitlement now, they can't go back to their own place because then they have to admit they failed, and the people in the place of origin are going to laugh at them. They may even think, hold on a minute, you abandoned us, want to escape? How come you're coming back? Why don't you go back to America right now? So now, the people who are there were not disappointed because their escape does not work. They're now looking for an outlet. And for a long time, the Black community used to be the racial outlet for people to offload upon. Well, due to the George Floyd situation and other things that happened around the time, that doesn't happen anymore. So now in the Western world, you have millions of people. Sometimes some of them are not migrants directly, their parents or grandparents were migrants, but you have a lot of people in the United States and other parts of the Western world who just want to escape and be left alone, and that's not possible. So now they're desperate to escalate that unrest somewhere. But where are the victims to take it out on? Islamophobia, the war on terror, kind of gave people an outlet to focus on the Islamic world, but even that doesn't work anymore because a lot of the contributors in the Western world who actually build things and contribute to quality are Muslim people. And a lot of Western people themselves are turning Muslim too. Oh, by the way, this Gaza genocide that goes on also caused a lot more people to become Muslim too. So when you have a lot of people who are not happy, they're upset, and they can't escape, and they don't have enough victims to escalate, they're going to decline mentally and psychologically going to decline on the inside, and that's going to lead to a lot more health issues in the country, which will lead to a lot of social unrest also, including domestic violence. So the rest of the world, that's the place the rest of the world is right now. The rest of the world has coped with Western dominance, and they're now coming out of it, and they have no interest in destroying what they've built. So people are not going to be keen on taking revenge on the Western world. No, they will not be. Likely not. Maybe some terrorist groups here and there will want to do that, but in general, people are not going to be that keen on taking on the Western world militarily. No, people are just going to move away from the Western world and bypass them. Why do you think you have this thing called BRICS? BRICS is an alternative for countries that don't want to remain under Western dominance. Okay, and as you can see, they have some permanent members already: Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa, Brazil, India, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Russian Federation, China, oh, India here. There's some prospect nations over here also want to join. Argentina pulled out recently. But just to know that people are not interested in fighting the United States, Western Europe, and all of that. And they're interested in just moving beyond it. So during Trump's presidency, you are going to see a moving away from the United States. You are going to, hold on. Can you all hear me? Okay, you should be able to hear me clearly now. So you're going to see a lot of movements away from the United States. The United States becoming more criticized, more irrelevant. There may be even legal actions internationally by the International Court of Justice against the United States also. We don't know. And the United States allies are going to move further away from the United States. A lot of them are going to become more irrelevant too. So for those that expect the United States to be booming again, like it was in the 1960s, 1970s, that's not going to happen. It cannot happen. The infrastructure for it to happen isn't there. The will to make it work is not there because people just want to have a quick fix. That's why a lot of them voted for Trump, think Trump is going to make it happen. A lot of people also voted for Trump because they want to hold on to the old America, the white supremacist America, because they're kind of afraid of change. Also, you also don't have the willingness of the rest of the world to comply with this American dominance. And by the way, how can the United States remain dominant if it comes with policies that isolate itself from the rest of the world? If you want to put America first, so put more focus on you, that means you focus on all those other places where you're mingling right now. So Trump's proposal itself will make the United States more irrelevant. And once you relevancy, it's going to be very hard to get it back. So the reason I did this live stream is to warn you all not to get fairy tale expectation of Trump's next presidency. Will there be some improvements here and there for Americans? Likely there will be. But don't expect magical outworkings. The United States is in decline, it will continue in decline. The Western world is not dominant anymore. So Americans have to learn that they're not that important worldwide anymore, and that a lot of people are going to not prioritize them that much anymore. One of the main reasons why the United States was so important, so relevant, was because its military bases and because its financial grip. Well, that financial grip is fading away right now. Its reputation is fading. And the military presence of the United States will also have to end worldwide at some point. Under Biden, they already left Afghanistan. So soon we'll have to leave more places too. Oh, I also believe in West Africa, they were kicked out also. So things are changing. And the world is heading towards a change a lot of people don't want. Because think about it. The United States was considered a quote unquote white country, like most Western countries. BRICS, for the most part, are countries of color. Now, Russia itself is not majority quote unquote white. Russia has a lot of Eurasians living there who are of color too. We should look at this. The president of South Africa also. And you see in the center also, Russia all the way to the side over here. So this is what the world is going towards. I don't think that whole world is going to be dominated by BRICS. What I'm saying is that the tribe of Judah is going to become the center again. The believers from based on biblical prophecy, the believers from the tribe of Judah are going to be in the lead, and with them, believers from the Gentile nations. So that's a complete the opposite of the white supremacist fairy tale that's been pushed on the world for the past 500 years. All right. Someone had a question. Nisara. Well, I heard about this before. Okay, I meant to look deeper into it. But indeed, these were proposals done to reform the United States. But the problem is not much came from it. And yes, so there's not something you should pay too much attention to. You have this plan 2025, I believe it's called. Project 2025. And this project, also known as the 2025 Presidential Transition Project, there was an American conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, that published it also. The thing is, they wanna quickly told they want to turn the United States into a Christian nation again. They also want to ban abortion also, and they also actually want to make America a Christian nation state again, with the family being the center. There's been a lot of backlash against this plan over here, especially from the liberals concerning the abortion issue. I'm not sure if this project 2025 is going to be put into place because there's a lot of issues with this. But whether it's put into place or not, it doesn't change the fact that the United States will not be the United States you grew up in. The United States you grew up in early 2000s or earlier, it does not exist anymore, and it's never going to come back. Ever. Oh, and look at this. They have a budget of 22 million. How are you going to achieve such a big project throughout the whole United States, only $22 million? Are you kidding me? Not even 1 billion would be sufficient. So I don't have much confidence in this over here, but hey, I can be wrong. But okay, I hope this live stream was clear on to you. I'm not looking down on anyone who voted for Donald Trump, even though I have my questions on I have my question of why. On the other hand, Kamala Harris was one of the best either. Okay, especially when you as a believer you reflected with the values from the Bible. But one thing I can say is that no matter who you voted for, if you vote to begin with, the decline of the United States cannot be reversed. The best can happen is that the United States at least becomes sustainable internally. That's what can happen. If the Americans become serious about their infrastructure, improve their economic zones, and they make proper use of the illegal migrants over there by naturalizing them as citizens on condition they contribute fully to the military and United States. That's how the United States can at least become sustainable internally. Internationally, the United States will fade away in the background. That's about to happen anyway. It will still be visible, of course. America this, America that, but it's going to be more a symbolic thing or more annoyance people put up with. Just like Boosie Land's reputation went down and Boosie became irrelevant right now, the same is happening in the United States and also the rest of the Western world. Okay? Are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know in the live chat. Please let me know. So like Schubert says, the real dominant communities are waking believers who have been labeled from the fruits of the flesh and lies of the world. Yes. They don't want that to happen, but yeah, it's heading that direction. Absolutely. Judeans first, then the rest of the believers from the Gentiles. This is how it's going to work. Okay, but are there any questions about this topic? Any remarks? All right. I'll give you some time to ask your questions. Just know, I predict that United States at the very best can become internally sustainable if they quickly improve the infrastructure, building high-speed railways, improving their industrial areas, improve healthcare, and improve and put on free education. They can do that, and then internationally they'll be more in the background. That's a best case scenario for the United States under the Trump administration and afterwards. But if people don't comply with that, then it's going to be an internal decline within the states itself. You may have some independence movements stirring up again in Texas and California. I'm not saying that the states will secede from the union, but you may have more independence urges coming up, and you'll have more conflicts within the states itself, leading to more financial decline and more ghetto formation and more internal unrest. So whether the United States will end up internally sustainable under next Trump presidency, or it will deteriorate into internal fights, that depends on the attitude of the American public. Because nobody else can do it for you than yourself. All right? All right. Are there any questions? Let me know, please. Mm-hmm. God is good. I'll wait for 1 minute. If I get no questions within a minute, I'll close down the live stream. God is good. All right. I didn't get any questions here. Thank you all for being here. For all of you believers in the United States, begin to decree and declare more than ever before, from now till the inauguration of Donald Trump. I'm not saying that after inauguration you don't have to pray, decree, and declare anymore, but right now, he still didn't take office yet. He's going to take office 20th of January 2025. From now till then, decree and declare, fast pray more than ever before, so that you can use your spiritual power to steer the US government and all its allies into the favor of the believers. We as believers, we need to use our spiritual power on the earth right now in a forceful way so that we are in advantage. We cannot afford to become irrelevant. When you become irrelevant, people can easily overlook you and they are more likely to let bad things happen to you. I'm not saying that when you're relevant, people automatically love you and look after you. It's just that when you're relevant, they have no choice but to consider you more. And we as believers, we ought to be relevant. So get on your knees, decree, declare, pray, and fast. Be active daily life so that we all remain relevant and use the power God has given to us. All right? Well, that's it for now. Thank you all for being here. Again, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member channel. Check my novels on Amazon, and don't forget you can donate the links below. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next live stream. And listen, don't idolize Donald Trump, nor anyone else, no JD fans. I pray with Christ. He is alone is Lord, and He's our Savior. There's no king but the Heavenly Father. Be at peace.